Jordan Travis suffered a really devastating injury in FSU's win over North Alabama, and it looked pretty serious. He had a run early in the first quarter where his leg got bent awkwardly. They had to cart him off the field, and the whole entire stadium of Doak Campbell just lost their breath. It was completely quiet. And then you have Tate Rodemaker who comes in, and he had a pretty good performance, 13 of 23, 217 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. When it comes to FSU being able to win out, you should be able to get the job done with Rodemaker at quarterback. You got a really good team around them, great receivers, Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, you got Jaheim Bell at tight end, and you got a really good offensive line, and your defense is pretty good also. But I don't know if you're going to be able to win a national championship without Jordan Travis. You see, if Tate Rodemaker is going to be able to lead FSU to a national title this year, he needs to pull a Cardale Jones. I don't know how many of you guys remember Cardale Jones, but he came in years ago and led Ohio State to a national championship when their starting quarterback that season, JT Barrett, went down with an injury. In his last 3 games, he was impressive in the Big Ten championship. He was impressive in the semifinals, and he also had a good performance in the championship game, which helped the Buckeyes win it all that season. You're going to need that kind of quarterback play out of Rodemaker if you're going to be able to make that happen. FSU has one of the most talented teams in college football. They don't really have too many weaknesses. But one thing that I will say about this team is that they're really inconsistent in terms of being able to play their best football consistently every single week. Yes, they are able to find ways to win games, but are they going to be able to survive Louisville going against Jeff Brom, whose nickname is the Upset Master? There's a reason why they call Jeff Brom the Upset Master. I'm confident that Florida State can win that game, and I'm really confident that they should be able to beat Florida. Florida doesn't have a damn defense. Their offense is good enough to put up a couple of points. But I don't think their defense is going to be able to give Rodemaker some problems. And this is somebody who isn't a freshman or a sophomore. He's been part of this program for a while. He was one of Coach Norvell's first recruits when he first took the FSU job. So he has a good amount of experience. He understands the offense. So, yeah, losing Jordan Travis is a huge loss because it looks like his career with FSU is pretty much done, unless a miracle happens. But I think that Rodemaker can at least get them to a point where they can beat Florida. They can beat Louisville in the ACC championship. That game probably is going to be close. It's going to be really uncomfortable to watch if you're a Florida State fan, but you should be able to pull that win out. One thing about FSU that I do give them credit for is that they may not play their best football consistently every single week, but they find ways to win close games, and that's the sign of a great team. Great teams have something that I call the escape door ability. That means that anytime they get put in a situation when their back is against the wall and it looks like they're about to lose, they just find a way to win. And this is a pretty balanced team all around. They're really good throwing the football. You got a really good rushing attack. Your defense is pretty good when everybody's playing at a high level. And this is the kind of event that can kind of rally a team. Jordan Travis' injury is really significant. He meant a lot to this program, a lot to Coach Norvell, and he means a lot to Florida State University. And the team can come together more behind this, rally behind it, and use it as, motivation to continue their undefeated season. Because this is a really big season that Florida State has had this year. And even when I expected them to go undefeated coming into this season, I was a little bit skeptical about it. And I still am a little bit skeptical about it because it seems like a situation that may be a little bit too good to be true. But they still are undefeated. All they got to do is beat a Florida team that has no defense. And you got to be able to beat a really well-coached Louisville team. You should be able to get the job done. Now, when you get into the college football playoffs and you got to win with Rodemaker, if you got to play against Georgia or Alabama or Michigan in the first round, I don't know. You probably have a better shot at beating Michigan or Ohio State with Rodemaker than you do of being able to beat a team like Georgia or Alabama in the first round that's really good on all phases of the game. Michigan, their offense isn't that great. All they do is really run the football. Same thing with Ohio State, although both of those teams have great defenses. When you're going up against a team that has a skeptical offense, you always got a chance with the kind of playmakers that FSU has offensively, and they're more talented on the offensive side of the football than what Michigan and Ohio State are, in my opinion. So when it comes to FSU being able to win a national championship with Rodemaker, it really just depends on who you get matched up against in the first round, because there's an old motto that goes, styles make fights. FSU, they got a really talented team around Rodemaker. It's not like Jordan Travis was carrying this team on his back. Although he was playing at a really high level, Florida State does a really good job at playing complementary football, and they also got a really good coaching staff. Their offensive coordinator should be in the running for a couple of head coaching jobs, and same can probably be said about their defensive coordinator as well. When you got a really good coaching staff, especially in today's age of college football, yeah, losing your star quarterback is going to be a big loss, but you should be able to get competent quarterback play out of Rodemaker. This was somebody that was pretty highly touted coming out of high school. Mike Norvell brought him along with them to FSU, and now it's his chance to step up, and he most likely was going to be the guy to replace Jordan Travis next season anyway, because their other quarterback who they got, who a lot of people were really high on when he was coming out of high school, A.J. Duffy, he's not really ready to play yet. Rodemaker can come in and get the job done with the talent that you have around him, as long as FSU is able to play their best football down the stretch. Now you can't afford to have any days where you kind of start off slow and you start to slack off. Like, you got to be able to come in and dominate Florida, and you got to be able to beat Louisville pretty handily. Because if you go into that Florida game, which is a rivalry game, and you go into the ACC championship game and you play the same way that you did against Boston College or even Miami, you're not going to win those games. FSU is way more talented than that. Okay, this is one of the most talented teams in college football this season. Regardless of what the recruiting rankings may say, this is a team that mostly is built through the transfer portal. Their best players, they got from the transfer portal. Even Jordan Travis, he came from the transfer portal initially. So I think that Rodemaker is good enough to get this team to the ACC championship unscathed against Florida, and they should be able to win this conference championship, although they are going up against the upset master, and that really concerns me. If you're going up against anybody else, Clemson, North Carolina, or whoever, I would be more confident than what I am with you going against a coach like Jeff Brom that makes his living off pulling off massive upsets. And my last thing is, how is the committee going to view this injury? Because one of the people on the committee did say that they do take injuries into account. If FSU wins out, is Jordan Travis' injury going to be a reason why they could potentially get bumped over for a team like Texas or a one-loss Oregon team potentially? And then Washington, they're still undefeated too. They got a really big win on the road in Corvallis against Oregon State. So I want to know how this injury is going to affect how the committee views Florida State when they end up releasing their final rankings, if they are able to win out like how I expect. But this injury to Jordan Travis, really unfortunate, really sad. This was somebody who pretty much bleed the garnet and gold. This was somebody who, although he didn't start his career out with FSU, he's a Seminole through and through. He bleeds it in his blood. And I watched Jordan Travis' career at Florida State over the last couple of years. I remember one point when anytime he came into the game, the only thing he was going to do was run the football. But he has improved tremendously over the last couple of years, and I'm hoping that he can rehab to 100% after this injury, and hopefully we can see him playing in the NFL on Sundays. But this is a really unfortunate injury that comes at a really bad time for FSU when the season pretty much is over. But they should be able to at least win against Florida and beat Louisville in the ACC championship. As far as winning the national championship, I think your hopes are pretty much all but over. Okay, I'm not counting you out, but if you're telling me you're going to be able to beat, a team like Alabama or Georgia, if you have to play them with the 1 seed, I don't know about that. Even Michigan and Ohio State, with how good their defenses are, is Rodemaker going to be able to step up and have success against two of college football's premier defenses? I don't really know.